How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massa Beer Reviews back with some aged beer up in this piece in the form of MacTarnahan's Brewing. Say what? It's their Spine Tingler. Yeah, this be a golden Belgian style triple. And as far as I can guess, you're not going to be able to see it. I'll show it to you anyway. This beer is best enjoyed by June 1st of 2012. Probably can't see that on there, which I'm guessing that makes this a 2011 bottle of beer because I assume they're putting a year on it. I know Belgian breweries, sometimes they do 3 years, sometimes they do 5 years. Oh, I tried to do a little research. I couldn't figure it out. Maybe I'll write the brewery because they still exist. I thought they went away, but they didn't really go away. They were actually Portland Brewery for quite some time. And then they changed their name to MacTarnahan's, or they produce beers under that label while still retaining the Portland Brewing. And then they got bought out by Pyramid Brewing, and then they went back to Portland Brewing. Anyway. We're going to drink it. I've never had anything from these guys. This is 8.5% alcohol by volume. Like I said, it is, at least 9 years old. Ooh, nice little hiss on there. And I found this on the shelf at a local bottle shop for $5 American. Now, you know, Belgian triples can age quite well. This could be hot garbage. But for $5, what are you going to do? Label-wise, that's what 10-year-old labels look like. You know, it reminds me of those cheesy, old-school labels that a lot of breweries used to do. And as far as the beer goes, it looks like a darkened version of a Belgian triple. A little bit darker than what you expect. More caramel than kind of orangey blonde. Really nice head on it, to be perfectly honest with you. So, looks like it's held up, at least as far as carbonation goes. But it looks like it might have a bit of oxidation going on, or it could have been darker triple to begin with, or age could have turned out way outside of oxidation. But yeah, it looks quite nice, to be perfectly honest with you. What am I expecting going into this? So, in a perfect world, you're just going to get that rich kind of Belgian triple sweetness. It's almost like I equate a lot of Belgian triples to almost like a wine version of beer. For me, a little bit higher potent stuff. We're going to start to get in a lot more caramel notes. That's not something I typically get off Belgian triples, but it's something I'm expecting from a 9-year-old version of it. Let's get a nose. It's spicy. It's not overly sweet. It's spicy. Definitely smells like we have a little bit of oxidation going on. By a little bit. Decent amount. But there's nothing too aggressive to this beer. I mean, there's no caramel, no sugar daddy, none of that big sweetness you would hope to develop, or mature, adulty kind of sweetness you hope would develop with a beer of this age. It doesn't smell negative, doesn't smell off. It just smells kind of neutral in a weird way. For, you know, a larger ABV beer of this age, you expect to get something. Not getting a ton. Soft graininess, not really sweetness, but that little bit of soft spiciness with a combination of a little bit of kind of wet papery vibes. Let's see what she's got. Cheers. Okay. I mean, it's kind of morphed into a watered-down version of what I kind of was hoping for. You definitely get a nice, soft caramel vibes. Not nearly as bold as you'd expect or want from an 8.5% beer that's, you know, all of 9 years old. But it's not bad. There's really, actually, not that much oxidation. I thought there was going to be a little bit more base off in the nose. You do get a little bit of that kind of wet cardboard, wet paper thing going on, but it's not overly aggressive. There's a really spicy component to it. I got that in the nose. Definitely get that in a taste akin of a peppery kind of Saison-y peppery, like a coriander pepper kind of thing going on. I don't know if they actually put an ingredients thing on here. I mean, they could have definitely dosed this with something like coriander, cardamom, something along those lines, because that's definitely coming through. You'd expect those spices to fall off with time, or it could just be, you know, these guys are from Portland doing Belgian-style triple. They just could have hopped it up a little bit more aggressive than what they typically do, and that's that ghost of kind of West Coasty hops past kind of floating in there. That's not bad. It's not bad. It's not great. It's not otherworldly. It's not what I want these aged beers to turn into with time, but it's definitely a negative beer. It gives you a little dabble of that agedness in there with that little bit of soft caramel. When I say soft caramel, think about Caramel Werther's Originals caramel version, not the butterscotch. And like when you're sucking on it, you get bursts of that caramel, and then afterwards, 10 minutes after you've finished it, just have this soft kind of watered down caramel feeling in your mouth. That's kind of what you're getting here. Carbonation is quite pretty, especially of a beer of its age, and that spiciness is an interesting twist that adds something to the beer, but it does lack a little bit of the pop or pizzazz that I was looking for a beer of this age. But kudos to those guys for actually creating a beer that didn't turn into hot garbage over 9 years. I mean, not that Belgian triples can't be aged, but you're talking 8.5%. You know, it could go a little bit awry, especially if they use like a candied sugar, more components in it. Something could have went sideways, and it just didn't happen here. It has this nice carbonation. It's still lively. Give it a twirl. That head's going to come back, so it does have a little bit of decent amount of life to its left. But it just didn't age into something that I hoped it would. Did it age into something beautiful at one point? I could definitely see that happening. But the shelf life in this beer was probably a little bit closer to 4 to 5 years as opposed to closer to 10. So I'm just assuming that this is just past its prime. And that's kind of part and parcel for beer. Listen, $5 for a bomber. I'm not going to shed a tear over the price I paid for this. And it's a fun experiment. And whenever I do these kind of aged beers, I hesitate to use the word loss versus a win versus a loss. When you have losses like this, and if you want to classify it as a loss because it didn't come off amazingly, there, I think, as much of the experience as the wins. It's always great to get the wins, but you have to know the other end of the spectrum in order to appreciate the wins. You know, it's like, you know, if you never felt pain in your life, you really don't know what love is. You know, it's kind of how you have to understand one side to really understand the other, and that's kind of where this one kind of comes in. I've had much, much worse aged beer. Much worse. But again, fun beer. Worth the price I paid. I'm not complaining. Let's go. Is this one of the better Belgian triples? Aged beers. Let's just go aged beers I've had. It's like, no, but it's definitely not the worst. Value and availability. I may know there's a bunch of these on the shelf. If anybody wants one of these, let me know. I'll tell you where to go to get it. And I assume it might be some of the last ones left because this brewery just really kind of doesn't exist anymore, but it does, but it doesn't. And leave you with, if you like, what will you like this beer? If you like aged beer. If you like Belgian triples and you like aged beer, because that's what this is. This is just a testament, a kind of fun foray into some aged stuff. That does not suck. So, yeah, if you like that, you'll like this. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out in the social media stuff. Beer Massive. Want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a little bit of MacTarnahan's. What the hell's that? Brewing. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.